Hello, dear listener. Welcome to Calm Cloud Chronicles, where imagination drifts and stories unfold. Sit back, relax, and let the journey begin. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more soothing tales. Eldir, keeper of the Ashen Flame. The air crackled with a faint hum of smoldering energy. Eldir stood alone at the heart of Janunga Gap, the yawning void between what once was and what might yet be. The 9 realms, splintered by Ragnarok's fury, had been reduced to a desolate tapestry of ash and ruin. Fragments of Asgard's golden towers lay buried beneath Helheim's frost, while the charred remnants of Yggdrasil loomed in the distance, skeletal and defiant. In Eldir's hand burned the Ashen Flame, its glow a dim reminder of the life and light it once fostered. The flame shivered as though in protest, its whispers barely audible over the howling winds of this forsaken plain. It spoke in fragments of rebirth, of power, and of the insatiable hunger that gnawed at its core. Eldir tightened their grip on the staff forged from Yggdrasil's splinters, their eyes narrowing as they stared into the horizon. "You burden me with your secrets, old flame," Eldir murmured, their voice a low rumble like distant thunder. "Yet you remain silent when I demand to know why you falter." The whispers grew louder now, merging into a singular voice that filled Eldir's mind. "The realms call for us, Keeper. We are incomplete. The light must blaze anew, or all shall fade to eternal silence." A flicker of doubt crossed Eldir's expression, but before they could respond, the ground beneath them trembled. From the ashes rose a figure cloaked in the shadows of memory, Yurda, the bridge walker. They carried a shard of the Bifrost in their hand, its iridescent glow stark against the ashen backdrop. "Eldir," Yurda said, their voice both familiar and alien, like a melody half remembered. "You are not the only one who walks with purpose in this shattered world." Eldir's eyes narrowed. "What do you seek, Bridgewalker?" "I seek what you guard," Yurda replied. "The Ashen Flame is not a gift meant for one. It is a thread in the tapestry of fate, and I will see it woven where it belongs. You would claim it for yourself?" Eldir's voice was sharp now, the flame in their hand flaring with intensity. "You know not what you ask for. The flame is a double-edged sword. It creates and destroys in equal measure." Yurda smirked, their expression unreadable. "And yet you cling to it, Keeper. Perhaps it is not the flame that burdens you, but your fear of what it might become." Before Eldir could respond, a gust of wind swept through the void, carrying with it the faint echoes of long-forgotten battle cries. The whispers of the Ashen Flame surged, their tone now one of urgency. "Beware, Keeper. They come." The shadows around them stirred, and from the void emerged the descendants of Fenrir, their eyes glowing with a savage hunger. These were not beasts of prophecy, but vengeful echoes of a past long buried. They lunged forward, jaws snapping and claws raking through the air. Elder raised the Ashen Flame, its light searing through the darkness as they prepared to face the onslaught. Yurda stepped forward, the shard of the Bifrost now glowing with a fierce brilliance. Together, Keeper and Bridgewalker stood against the tide of chaos, their uneasy alliance forged in the crucible of necessity. Elder's life began not through mortal birth, but from the embers left behind in the wake of Ragnarok. As the realms crumbled and the fires of Surtur's blade consumed the remnants of Yggdrasil, a single ember refused to die. This ember, caught in the balance between destruction and creation, gave rise to Eldir. They emerged fully formed, a being of ash and flame, forged from the lingering will of the cosmos itself. Eldir was entrusted with the Ashen Flame by the last surviving whispers of the gods, perhaps fragments of Odin's all-knowing wisdom or Freya's boundless compassion. They were told the flame held the power to reignite creation, to bring life to the charred remains of the Nine Realms. Yet, it could also obliterate what little remained, should it fall into the wrong hands. The gods, weakened and fading, tasked Eldir to serve as its eternal keeper, never revealing the full truth of the flame's origin or its purpose. The burden of purpose. As centuries passed, Eldir's role became a solitary vigil. Their connection to the Ashen Flame grew, not merely as a weapon or artifact, but as a living entity. The flame began whispering to them, fragmented memories, faint echoes of the gods who once reigned, and cryptic hints of destinies that might have been. Over time, Eldir questioned their purpose. Were they meant to preserve the flame for the gods' return? Or was this task a cruel exile, a punishment for a crime they did not understand? Eldir's solitude was further burdened by the flame's demands. It required sustenance, fragments of power, life, and even memories. Each time Eldir called upon its strength, they felt a piece of themselves slip away, as though the flame consumed them bit by bit. Despite this, Eldir clung to their role, fearing that abandoning it would plunge all existence into an abyss from which there could be no return. The Forgotten Betrayal. Unknown to Eldir, the Ashen Flame may not be as pure as they were led to believe. Legends whispered among the ruins tell of Loki's final act before his demise, a cunning plan to seed chaos even in death. Some claim the Ashen Flame carries a fragment of Loki's essence, its whispers laced with his mischief and deception. If true, Eldir's every action might unknowingly further Loki's elusive schemes, setting the stage for a new cosmic upheaval. A vision of hope. Despite their doubts and burdens, Eldir holds onto a fragile hope. They often dream of a restored Yggdrasil, its branches connecting realms anew, and the return of harmony to the cosmos. These visions, though fleeting and unclear, drive Eldir forward. Whether these dreams are a true prophecy or a cruel illusion planted by the flame remains a mystery. Eldir believes that if they can uncover the truth behind the flame's whispers, they might finally understand their place in the grand design. The weight of memories. Eldir is not just the keeper of the Ashen Flame, but its vessel. Over time, The flame has imprinted itself on Eldir's very soul, blurring the lines between the two. They carry fragmented memories within them, visions of the gods' golden halls, the shadow of Jormungand rising from the seas, and the tragic cries of mortals caught in Ragnarok's wrath. These memories are not Eldir's own, but are drawn from the flame's essence. Sometimes these visions come unbidden, haunting Eldir with echoes of lives lost, while other times they are faint whispers guiding them on their path. This connection creates an internal struggle. When Eldir looks at their reflection, they do not see themselves. They see a shifting tapestry of the past. Their identity feels fractured, as though they are becoming less of a person and more of a relic, a living reminder of what was. This connection creates an internal struggle. When Eldir looks at their reflection, they do not see themselves. They see a shifting tapestry of the past. Their identity feels fractured, as though they are becoming less of a person and more of a relic, a living reminder of what was. The Guardian's deception. Unbeknownst to Eldir, the gods who entrusted them with the Ashen Flame did not act out of benevolence. The flame is not merely a fragment of Yggdrasil or Surtur's fire. It is a tether to the last remnants of the gods' power. By tasking Eldir to guard it, they ensured their own survival, however faint. Some gods knew of the flame's double nature but chose to conceal it, fearing that Eldir might reject their task if the full truth were revealed. Freya, for instance, might have seen the flame as a tool for renewal, while Loki might have planted seeds of chaos within it. This deception leaves Eldir questioning their trust in the divine. Were they chosen because of their strength, or because they were expendable? The Ashen Flame's will. The flame itself is a character in its own right, an entity with a will and desires of its own. It whispers to Eldir, sometimes as a guide, other times as a tempter. It might lead Eldir to places of power, only to place them in situations where the flame's destructive potential is unleashed. The flame's ultimate motive remains unclear. Does it truly seek to restore the realms, or is it guiding Eldir towards something darker? Eldir begins to wonder if they are the keeper, or if they are being kept. The whispers grow stronger as the story progresses, culminating in a moment when Eldir must decide whether to trust the flame or extinguish it forever, even at the cost of their own existence. The final thread. A prophecy exists, hidden in the ashes of Muspelheim, that speaks of a second spark, a fire that will decide whether the cosmos will be reborn or consumed entirely. Eldir suspects that they themselves might be this spark. This revelation places immense pressure on them. Should they embrace their role and risk ultimate destruction, or deny it and allow the realms to fade into oblivion? Their journey becomes not just a quest for answers, but a fight for agency against forces that would use them as a pawn. The Ashen Flame, Yurda's ambitions, Era's manipulations, and even the remnants of the gods all pull Eldir in different directions. In the end, it is not just the realm's fate, but Eldir's own identity and purpose that hang in the balance. Long before Eldir's birth, Ragnarok was foretold as the end of the gods and the realms. But Searcher, the fire giant destined to spark the apocalypse, harbored ambitions far beyond the destruction prophesied. As his blade, forged of cosmic fire, scorched the 9 realms during the final battle, Searcher unleashed a fragment of his own being, a seed of his essence, into the flames. While the realms burned, this fragment absorbed the chaos and the residual power of creation. It became neither wholly destructive nor purely restorative, embodying the duality of cosmic fire, the ability to both annihilate and renew. The gods, realizing the peril of this rogue force, acted quickly. Odin and Freya combined their waning strengths to contain the fragment and fashioned it into what is now the Ashen Flame. They entrusted it to Eldir not as a gift or honor, but as a desperate measure to keep Surtur's essence dormant and out of reach. Over time, the fragment of Surtur embedded in the Ashen Flame began to awaken. Though its voice remains faint, it feeds Eldir cryptic whispers and surreal visions. The flame does not explicitly reveal its origins, but hints at truths that Eldir struggles to piece together. It shows Eldir glimpses of Surtur's fiery form, standing defiant amidst the gods' downfall, and whispers words like, "Fire creates life as much as it destroys, and the cosmos is mine to reshape." As Eldir's bond with the flame deepens, the essence of Surtur grows stronger, influencing their thoughts and actions. Eldir begins to notice moments where the flame responds with a mind of its own, unleashing bursts of power when Eldir tries to suppress it or guiding them toward places imbued with remnants of Surtur's power. Eldir finally uncovers the truth during an encounter in Glaimheim, the realm of forgotten things. Among its surreal landscape, Eldir stumbles upon an ancient tablet marked with Surtur's sigil. The tablet reveals the prophecy of the second spark, the ultimate fire that will either bring the realms back to life or consume all existence. The prophecy claims this fire resides within the Keeper, a revelation that shakes Eldir to the core. In this moment, Surtur's essence speaks directly, no longer faint whispers, but a commanding voice echoing in Eldir's mind. It declares that Eldir is the chosen vessel to bring about the second spark, and that the Keeper's will is merely an extension of Surtur's own. Eldir realizes they are not just the guardian of the flame, they are becoming the flame itself. The air was thick with ash and memories, the landscape stretching endlessly in desolation. Eldir stood at the center of a crumbling expanse, the ashen flame cradled in their hand like a fragile heart. It flickered faintly, as if uncertain of its own purpose. For days, or perhaps weeks, time held little meaning here. The flame's whispers had grown louder, more insistent. "You are more than you think, Keeper." The voice of the flame echoed in their mind, deep and resonant, carrying both the weight of truth and the edge of temptation. "You do not guard me. You are me." Eldir's grip tightened on the staff, their knuckles pale against the charred wood. "Lies," they muttered, though their voice betrayed uncertainty. "I am not some fragment of your will. I was born to protect the realms from your chaos." And yet, the flame continued, its tone almost mocking. You call upon me. You wield me. Tell me, Keeper, each time you summon my power, do you not feel your soul unraveling? The spark within you is not a blessing. It is the price. Eldir faltered, their memories flashing like fleeting embers. Every time they had wielded the flame's power, it had left a scar, not on their body, but on their sense of self. The visions, the whispers, the haunting echoes, they all pointed to something they could no longer deny. I never asked for this, Eldir whispered, their voice breaking. I never wanted to be your vessel. The flame flared brighter, casting harsh shadows across Eldir's face. But you are. The gods made sure of that. Did they never tell you, Keeper, why you were created, why you alone were chosen? Before Eldir could respond, the ground trembled violently. From the haze of ash emerged Yurda, the bridgewalker, their cloak billowing as if caught in a phantom wind. The shard of the Bifrost glimmered in their hand, refracting colors that seemed out of place in the ashen void. You've been speaking to it, haven't you? Yurda's voice was sharp, accusatory. The flame's whispers, do not let them poison your mind. Eldir turned to face Yurda, their expression unreadable. Poison my mind. It speaks of truths you would have me ignore. Tell me, Bridgewalker, what do you know of this flame? Yurda hesitated, their gaze flickering to the ashen flame. It is power. Nothing more, nothing less. Power that must be controlled, lest it consume everything. Controlled? Eldir's voice rose, filled with a mixture of anger and despair. You mean hidden, suppressed, like a secret too dangerous to speak of. Yurda stepped closer, their tone softening. You think it tells you the truth, Keeper? The flame twists everything it touches. It wants you to doubt. It wants you to fall. Eldir's grip on the staff loosened slightly. And if I am already falling? If my very existence is bound to its will, as it claims? Yurda's eyes narrowed. Then we must sever that bond, before it is too late. At that moment, the flame surged, its voice cutting through the air like a blade. Do you hear them, Keeper? The fear in their voice? They would see you extinguished before they admit the truth of what you are. Eldir clutched their head, the flame's whispers clashing with Yurda's pleas. The tension hung thick, as if the realms themselves held their breath. Finally, Eldir looked up, their gaze locking with Yurda's. Tell me, Eldir demanded, their voice steady now. What aren't you telling me? What is the flame's true nature? Yurda's expression hardened, their hesitation betraying guilt. The Ashen Flame is not just a remnant of Ragnarok, they admitted. It is Surtr's essence, a fragment of his power, waiting to be unleashed. Eldir's eyes widened, a mixture of shock and realization washing over them. The flame flared brighter, as though it had been waiting for this moment. Now you see, Keeper, it purred, its voice almost gleeful. You and I are one. Together, we shall bring the second spark. Yurda reached out, their hand trembling. Eldir, You must fight it. You must. The ground beneath them cracked, molten fissures spreading outward as the flame's power surged. Eldir felt its pull, its promise of strength, of purpose. But they also felt its weight, a burden that threatened to consume them entirely. I am no one's pawn, Eldir growled, their voice trembling with defiance. Not the gods. Not yours. The Ashen Flame flickered in response, its whispers momentarily silenced. Eldir turned to Yurda, their expression resolute. If I am bound to this flame, then I will decide its purpose. But if you have further secrets, Bridgewalker, reveal them now, or leave. Yurda hesitated but nodded, their voice steady. Very well. If you mean to face the truth, then you must follow me, to Glaimheim. Eldir's gaze hardened. The realm of forgotten things. Yurda nodded, a faint smile tugging at the corners of their lips. The answers you seek lie there. But so do the dangers you fear most. Are you ready, Keeper? Eldir took a deep breath, the Ashen Flame pulsing in their hand like a living thing. I have no choice. Let us go. And with that, the Keeper of the Ashen Flame and the Bridgewalker set out into the unknown, the echoes of searchers' laughter trailing behind them. The forest of ash was eerily quiet, save for the faint crackle of embers beneath Eldir's feet. The trees, stripped bare by fire, stood like blackened sentinels against the pallid sky. Eldir tread carefully, the Ashen Flame casting a dim light that danced across the skeletal branches. The whispers of the flame had drawn them here, promising answers, or so Eldir hoped. But they were not alone. From the shadows emerged a hulking figure, its fur as dark as the void and its eyes burning like molten gold. Fenrir. The wolf moved with deliberate slowness, each step shaking the ground as if the very realm feared his presence. His size was monstrous, but there was something in the way he carried himself, calm, measured, almost regal, that made Eldir hesitate. So this is what they send to guard the flame, Fenrir rumbled, his voice low and gravelly, carrying the weight of centuries. A child of ash, clinging to a spark of borrowed power. Eldir raised the staff defensively, the Ashen Flame flaring brighter. I will not let you take it, they said, their voice steady despite the fear clawing at their chest. Fenrir chuckled, a deep, resonant sound that seemed to shake the very air around them. Take it? No, Keeper. I have no need for your pitiful flame. I've seen what it is, what it can do. But I have come to offer you an alternative. Eldir's eyes narrowed. I don't trust you, Fenrir. You're a creature of chaos. And you, Fenrir growled, stepping closer, are a creature of doubt. You think I'm here to steal your precious flame? No, Keeper. I'm here to warn you. Warn me? Eldir's grip on the staff tightened. Of what? The truth you already know, Fenrir said, his golden eyes piercing into Eldir's own. The flame is not yours to command. It is a fragment of Surtur himself, a slumbering titan, waiting for the right moment to awaken. Every time you wield it, Keeper, you feed him. You are not his master. You are his pawn. Eldir's heart pounded in their chest, but they refused to show weakness. Then why tell me this? What do you gain by warning me? Fenrir bared his teeth in a grin that was more grim than amused. Because, Ashling, I know what it is to be a pawn. To be bound by chains of destiny. The gods feared me, caged me, used me. And now, they use you. Eldir hesitated, the weight of Fenrir's words pressing down on them. What do you want from me? Freedom, Fenrir said simply. For both of us. The Ashen Flame is a prison, a tether that binds Surtur's will to yours. If you destroy it, you will not only free yourself, but ensure that Surtur never rises again. Destroy the flame? Eldir shook their head, their voice laced with disbelief. You don't understand. If I extinguish it, the realms may never recover. It's the only thing keeping them alive. Fenrir's gaze hardened. And what kind of life is this? A shattered cosmos, clinging to ashes? Tell me, Keeper, have you ever seen the flame create? Or does it only destroy in its wake? The question struck Eldir like a blow. They had wielded the flame countless times, but always in moments of desperation, of conflict. The flame had protected them, yes, but at what cost? The visions, the whispers, the pain, it was as if the flame demanded suffering in exchange for its power. Eldir faltered, their voice trembling. I don't know. Fenrir stepped closer, his massive form looming over them. Then you must decide, Keeper. Will you remain a pawn, clinging to a spark of borrowed power? Or will you break the cycle and forge your own destiny? Eldir looked down at the flame, its light flickering uncertainly. The whispers were silent now, as if waiting for their decision. The weight of the choice pressed heavily on their soul. I need time, Eldir finally said, their voice barely above a whisper. Fenrir nodded, his expression surprisingly gentle. Time is a luxury the flame will not grant you. Make your choice, Ashling. And when you do, remember this, freedom is not given. It is taken. With that, the great wolf turned and vanished into the shadows, leaving Eldir alone with their thoughts in the flickering light of the Ashen Flame. The Keeper's Reckoning. Eldir trudged through the forest of ash, their mind a storm of conflicting thoughts. Fenrir's words gnawed at them, forcing questions they weren't ready to answer. Was the Ashen Flame truly a prison? Were they feeding Surtur's essence, awakening a force they couldn't hope to control? For the first time, the weight of the flame seemed unbearable, as though it burned not in their hand but in their soul. They stopped at the edge of a fissure, where molten rock bubbled below. The heat licked at their skin, mirroring the turmoil within. Raising the staff, Eldir stared into the flickering light of the flame, the whispers growing louder now, insistent and tempting. You hesitate, the flame purred. Even now, you fear the truth. But there is no freedom without fire, Keeper. What you call destruction is merely the path to rebirth. Eldir gritted their teeth. You speak of rebirth, but all I've seen is ruin. What have you created, Ashen Flame, that wasn't born from loss? The flame's light flared, casting dancing shadows that seemed to take on shapes, figures from the past, gods and mortals alike. Loss is the price of life, it whispered. Even the great Yggdrasil began as a single seed in the void. You fear what you do not understand, but I can show you. I can give you the vision. Eldir hesitated, the temptation tugging at them like a relentless tide. And what would you show me? Another promise of power? Another dream I cannot trust? Not a dream, the flame replied, its tone softening. A memory of what came before and what may come again. Look, keeper, and see the truth. The light of the flame surged, enveloping Eldir. The fissure beneath them disappeared, replaced by a vision that unfolded around them like a tapestry. They were no longer in the forest, but standing amidst the 9 realms, restored and vibrant. Asgard's golden halls gleamed under a radiant sun, Midgard thrived with life, and the shattered Bifrost stretched across the heavens, whole and shimmering. Eldir's breath caught in their throat. This isn't real. It can be, the flame whispered. With your will and my power, the realms can be reborn. You can be the architect of their future. No gods. No chains. Only creation. Eldir reached out, their hand trembling. The vision was beautiful, intoxicating, but beneath the surface, they felt an undercurrent of something darker. The whispers grew louder, more insistent, until they drowned out the harmony of the scene. Suddenly, the vision shifted. The vibrant realms turned to ash, the golden halls collapsing into ruin. Fires consumed the heavens, and from the inferno emerged a figure, a towering form wreathed in flames. Searcher. His laughter shook the cosmos, his gaze fixed on Eldir with a predatory hunger. You see, the flame hissed. Creation and destruction are one. You cannot have one without the other. To bring life, you must first burn away the old. No. Eldir shouted, tearing themselves away from the vision. The ashen flame flickered erratically, as though displeased with their defiance. I will not be your pawn. I will not be Surtur's tool. The ground trembled, cracks spreading outward as molten rock bubbled to the surface. Eldir stumbled back, their grip on the staff unsteady. The flame's voice grew harsher, demanding obedience. You cannot escape me, Keeper. You are bound to me. You are my vessel. Before the flame could overwhelm them, a familiar voice broke through the haze. Eldir. Yurda appeared from the shadows, the shard of the Bifrost glowing fiercely in their hand. Do not listen to it. You are stronger than this. Eldir turned to Yurda, their expression desperate. It's true, Bridgewalker. The flame, it's Surtur's essence. I've been feeding him all this time. Yurda stepped closer, their gaze unwavering. Then we will sever the bond. Together. How? Eldir's voice trembled. It's a part of me now. If I destroy it, I may destroy myself. Yurda placed a hand on Eldir's shoulder, their tone steady and resolute. You are more than the flame. You are more than what the gods made you. Trust yourself, Keeper. Trust your strength. Eldir's grip on the staff tightened, the ashen flame pulsing wildly in their hand. The whispers roared, desperate to maintain control. The fissure beneath them widened, molten rock surging upward as the flame resisted their defiance. You cannot defeat me, the flame snarled. You are mine. Eldir looked into the flame, their gaze steady now. No. I am my own. With a surge of determination, Eldir raised the staff high. The ashen flame flared, its light blinding, before collapsing inward. The fissure roared, the molten rock swallowing the flame as Eldir forced its power back into the void. The ground trembled violently, and for a moment, everything was consumed by darkness. When the tremors ceased, Eldir stood amidst the ruins, the staff in their hand cold and lifeless. The Ashen Flame was gone, its whispers silenced. Yurda approached, their expression filled with awe and relief. You did it. Eldir nodded, their breath unsteady. For now. But I fear this is only the beginning. The void's echo. The air was unnervingly still in the wake of the Ashen Flame's disappearance. Where once it crackled and hissed, a void now lingered, palpable and heavy. Eldir stood amidst the remnants of the ash-strewn forest, their chest rising and falling with labored breaths. The staff in their hand, once a conduit for the flame's power, was now a cold, inert fragment of Yggdrasil. For the first time in their existence, Eldir felt empty. Yurda approached cautiously, their usual air of confidence tempered by concern. You've done it, they said, their voice soft yet firm. The Ashen Flame is no more. Eldir turned to Yurda, their expression weary. And yet, I don't feel free. It's as if something has been torn away. Yurda rested their hand on Eldir's shoulder. The flame was part of you, for better or worse. Severing that bond was bound to leave its mark. But you are alive, Keeper. That alone is a victory. Eldir's gaze shifted to the horizon, where the ruins of the 9 realms stretched endlessly. Alive, yes. But what now? The realms are broken, their connections severed. Without the flame, how can they ever be whole again? Before Yurda could respond, the ground beneath them shuddered. A low, guttural rumble echoed through the void, resonating like a heartbeat. Eldir's grip tightened on the staff, their eyes scanning the horizon. What was that? Eldir asked, their voice edged with tension. Yurda's expression darkened. The balance has been disturbed. The flame may be gone, but its absence has left a void, and nature abhors a void. A fissure split the ground several paces ahead, releasing a surge of pale, otherworldly light. From it emerged figures unlike any Eldir had seen before, twisted, shimmering beings that seemed to flicker between forms. Their movements were erratic, their presence unnerving. Voidlings, Yurda murmured, their voice filled with unease. Creatures born of the emptiness left behind by the flame. They do not belong to any realm, and their purpose is unknown. The largest of the voidlings fixed its gaze on Eldir, its form shifting between humanoid and monstrous. It spoke, its voice a discordant chorus. Keeper, it intoned, each syllable grating. You have unmade the flame. The balance unravels. Eldir raised the inert staff defensively. I did what I had to. The flame was a threat to all the realms. Yet without it, the voidling continued, stepping closer. There is no anchor, no foundation. You have set the cosmos adrift. Yurda stepped forward, the shard of the Bifrost glowing faintly in their hand. Enough, they said, their tone commanding. What do you want from us? The voidling's shifting form stilled, its gaze locking onto Yurda. The Keeper must restore the balance, or the realms will descend into chaos. Eldir took a step forward, frustration flashing across their face. Restore the balance? How? The flame is gone. What do you expect of me? The voidling extended a hand, or what resembled a hand, toward Eldir. The Keeper is the spark. You carry the remnants of the flame within you. Through you, the balance may yet be mended. Yurda's grip tightened on the shard of the Bifrost. And at what cost? they demanded. Eldir has already given enough. The gods are to blame for this, not them. The voidling tilted its head, as if considering Yurda's words. The cost is the keeper's choice. Restore the flame, and the balance may be preserved. Refuse, and the void will consume all. Eldir stared at the voidling, their mind racing. The Ashen Flame's power had come with terrible burdens, yet without it, the realms were unraveling. Was this their destiny? To carry the weight of creation and destruction, no matter the cost? I need time, Eldir said finally, their voice heavy with exhaustion. The voidling's form flickered, its edges dissolving into the pale light. Time is fleeting, keeper. The void grows hungrier with each passing moment. As the voidlings retreated into the fissure, the forest was left in silence once more. Eldir turned to Yurda, their expression conflicted. I thought extinguishing the flame would free me, Eldir said, their voice barely above a whisper. But it seems I've only traded one burden for another. Yurda stepped closer, their gaze steady. You are not alone, Eldir. Whatever choice you make, I will stand by you. But you must ask yourself, what kind of balance do you wish to create? One forged by fire, or something entirely new? Eldir looked at the staff in their hand, its surface cold and lifeless. For the first time, they realized the truth. The Ashen Flame was gone, but its essence still lingered within them. The choice ahead was not just about restoring the realms, it was about defining who they would become. The Keeper's Ascent. The winds howled as Eldir and Yurda ascended the skeletal remains of Yggdrasil. Its once vibrant branches now stretched into the void like fractured ribs of a dying beast. Beneath them, the 9 realms flickered and dimmed, their fates unraveling with each passing moment. The voidling's emergence had sent ripples of chaos through the cosmos, and Eldir felt the weight of it all pressing on their shoulders. We're running out of time, Yurda said, their voice cutting through the wind. They clutched the shard of the Bifrost tightly, its faint glow their only source of light. If the void consumes the realms, there will be nothing left to rebuild. Eldir's gaze remained fixed ahead. The void isn't the only threat, they murmured. The flame may be gone, but its essence. It's still inside me. I feel it, growing stronger, hungrier. Yurda slowed their pace, turning to face Eldir. Then we must find another way to restore balance. The voidlings claimed you are the spark, but perhaps that doesn't mean reigniting the flame. There could be another path. Eldir hesitated, their grip tightening on the lifeless staff. If there is another path, I've yet to see it. The realms demand balance, and I've spent my entire existence as the keeper of destruction. How can I bring balance when all I know is fire? Yurda stepped closer, their expression softening. You are more than fire, Eldir. You've proven that. When you extinguished the flame, you chose hope over fear, creation over destruction. That choice defines you, not the flame. The words offered a flicker of comfort, but before Eldir could respond, a shudder ran through Yggdrasil's remains. From the shadows above, a chorus of whispers echoed, a sound that sent a chill down their spine. The voidlings had returned. Keep moving, Yurda urged, their voice tense. We're close to the Well of Origins. Eldir nodded, forcing their doubts aside as they pressed onward. The Well of Origins, said to lie at the heart of Yggdrasil's fractured roots, was their last hope. Legend spoke of it as a place where the threads of fate could be rewoven, where the power to reshape the cosmos was strongest. If Eldir could reach it, perhaps they could find a way to mend the balance without reigniting the flame. But the Voidlings had no intention of letting them reach their destination. From the shadows emerged a dozen of the flickering beings, their forms shifting and distorting as they moved. Their leader, the same Voidling that had spoken to Eldir before, stepped forward. Keeper, it intoned, its voice a discordant melody. You seek to defy the void, yet your efforts are futile. Balance cannot exist without destruction. Eldir stood their ground, raising the Anut staff. Balance doesn't have to mean destruction. I will find another way. The Voidling's form shimmered, its edges fraying like threads unraveling. Your defiance is admirable, but naive. The spark within you is the only force capable of mending the realms. To deny it is to doom all. Yurda stepped forward, the shard of the Bifrost glowing brighter. And what if the spark isn't destruction? What if it's something new? The Voidling turned its attention to Yurda, its form flickering violently. The spark is bound to the flame. There is no creation without fire. Eldir's mind raced as the Voidlings began to encircle them. They could feel the spark inside them, a faint ember of the Ashen Flame, pulsing with latent power. The Voidling was right. This spark held the potential to restore balance. But Eldir refused to let it consume them, to become the vessel of Surtur's will. There is another way, Eldir said, their voice steady. The flame was forged from chaos, but that doesn't mean it defines me. Balance isn't destruction or creation, it's harmony. And harmony can only come from choice. Before the Voidlings could respond, Eldir planted the staff into the ground. They closed their eyes, reaching inward to the spark within them. The ember flared, and for a moment, Eldir felt its hunger, its power. But they also felt something else, a quiet, steady warmth, like the first light of dawn. The spark responded to Eldir's resolve, shifting and reshaping itself. It was no longer a remnant of the flame's destructive power, but something gentler, something new. Eldir opened their eyes, and the staff in their hand glowed faintly, its surface etched with symbols of balance, creation and destruction, order and chaos, woven together in harmony. The Voidlings recoiled, their forms flickering erratically. What have you done? Their leader demanded, its voice rising in panic. I've made my choice, Eldir said, their voice calm but firm. The realms don't need fire. They need light. The staff's glow intensified, filling the air with a radiance that pushed back the Voidlings. The fissures in Yggdrasil's remains began to mend, the threads of the cosmos slowly weaving themselves back together. The Voidlings' forms dissolved into the light, their whispers fading into silence. Yurda watched in awe as the transformation unfolded. Eldir, you did it. Eldir lowered the staff, the light dimming but never fading. They turned to Yurda, their expression resolute. The balance isn't perfect, but it's a start. And this time, it's on my terms. Together, they descended from Yggdrasil, the first glimmers of a renewed cosmos shining in the distance. A glimmer of unity. The newly restored realm shimmered faintly on the horizon, connected yet fragile, as though they had been stitched together with threads of light. As Eldir and Yurda descended from Yggdrasil's fractured branches, the glow of Eldir's staff illuminated the path ahead. It was not the blaze of the Ashen Flame, but a softer, steadier radiance, a reflection of the balance they had fought to create. But restoration was only the beginning. In Midgard, the mortal realm, the people had begun to sense the shift. Crops that had withered during the unraveling of the realms now sprouted new shoots. Rivers once clogged with ash flowed clear again, and the sun, pale and distant during the void's rise, shone brighter, warming the frostbitten earth. Eldir and Yurda found themselves standing amidst a crowd of mortals who had gathered in a village square, their expressions a mixture of awe and confusion. "Who are you?" one of the villagers asked, stepping forward cautiously. The woman's eyes lingered on the staff in Eldir's hand, its glow drawing murmurs from the crowd. Eldir exchanged a glance with Yurda before answering. "I am Eldir. I was the keeper of the Ashen Flame, but that time has passed. Now, I seek to restore balance to the realms." The woman frowned, uncertainty etched across her features. "Balance? All we've known for years is chaos. The gods abandoned us, and the earth itself has turned against us. How can we trust you?" Yurda stepped forward, their voice firm yet gentle. "You don't need to trust us. Trust what you see, the rivers, the fields, the sky. The realms are healing, and that is because Eldir made a choice to preserve your future." Eldir remained silent, their gaze scanning the faces of the villagers. There was doubt in their eyes, but also a glimmer of hope. For so long, they had endured loss and uncertainty, clinging to whatever scraps of faith they could find. Now, Eldir carried the weight of those hopes, along with the burden of knowing how precarious the balance truly was. Before Eldir could respond, a child pushed through the crowd, holding a small, withered sapling. "Can you fix this?" the boy asked, his voice small but steady. Eldir knelt, taking the sapling in their hands. The staff's light flickered briefly, and with a soft pulse, the sapling's brittle branches straightened, its roots stretching as new leaves sprouted. The boy's eyes widened, and the crowd erupted in murmurs, their doubt giving way to astonishment. "It's not much," Eldir said, rising to their feet. "But it's a start. New alliances, new foes." The journey across the realms revealed both progress and peril. In Vanaheim, the land of the Vanir gods, Eldir and Yurda encountered remnants of an ancient forest that had begun to regenerate. The Vanir, long thought to have disappeared, cautiously emerged to confront the pair. Freya's voice rang out from the shadows, melodic yet sharp. "Keeper," she said, her eyes narrowing. "You walk our lands carrying the remnants of a power that nearly destroyed us. What is your purpose here?" Eldir met her gaze, unflinching. "My purpose is to restore what was broken. The flame no longer burns, but its spark has been reshaped. I seek balance, not destruction." Freya studied Eldir for a long moment before nodding. "We shall see if your actions match your words. But beware, the void is not the only force that threatens the realms. There are those who would take advantage of the chaos to claim power for themselves." As if on cue, a distant rumble echoed through the forest. From the horizon, an army approached, mortals and creatures alike, their banners bearing the mark of a shadowy serpent. Yurda's expression darkened. "The sons of Loki," they muttered. "It seems even after his death, his mischief endures." Eldir gripped the staff tightly, its glow intensifying. Then we face another battle. But this time, we won't fight alone. Freya's lips curved into a faint smile. Perhaps you truly are more than the Keeper of Destruction. The Vanir will aid you, Keeper, but know this, balance is fragile. To restore the realms is one thing. To protect them is another. The Keeper's new role. As alliances began to form, Eldir's understanding of balance evolved. No longer bound by the Ashen Flame's hunger, they discovered a newfound ability to connect the realms, weaving threads of unity through their light. Yet, they also realized that balance was not a state to be achieved, but a constant effort, a choice made again and again. The void's influence lingered at the edges of the cosmos, and the sons of Loki grew bolder in their attempts to exploit the chaos. But with Yurda by their side and the support of allies like the Vanir, Eldir found purpose beyond mere restoration. They became not just a keeper, but a guide, a beacon for those seeking harmony amidst the remnants of turmoil. As the cosmos slowly healed, Eldir stood at the center of it all, their light illuminating a path forward. And though challenges remained, they knew one truth above all. A cosmos restored. Years passed, and the scars of chaos began to fade from the realms. Eldir, now known not as the Keeper of the Ashen Flame, but as the Beacon of Harmony, wandered the lands as a guide and protector. Their light, gentle yet enduring, wove connections between realms and peoples, rekindling hope in a cosmos once fractured by despair. The Nine Realms thrived in their own ways. In Midgard, mortals began to rebuild, their faith placed not in gods or prophecies, but in their own strength and unity. In Vanaheim, the Vanir worked tirelessly to restore the balance of nature, fostering growth and vitality across the realms. Even Asgard, long thought lost, began to stir with faint whispers of renewal, though it remained shrouded in mystery. Eldir and Yurda continued their journey together, their bond forged in the fires of conflict and tempered by trust. Yurda, no longer bound by ambition to rebuild the Bifrost as it once was, became an architect of connection, helping realms work in harmony rather than division. The two became symbols of a new age, one defined not by dominance or fear, but by collaboration and choice. The Voidlings, remnants of the Void's hunger, were subdued but not forgotten. Eldir's light acted as a ward, keeping their encroachment at bay, but the cosmos required vigilance. Balance, after all, was not a final destination but a continuous effort, a delicate dance of creation and restraint. As Eldir stood atop a hill in Midgard, watching the sun rise over fields of golden wheat, they felt a sense of peace they had never known. The spark within them, once a source of doubt and pain, now radiated quietly, a reminder of the choices they had made and the lives they had touched. Yurda approached, their cloak catching the morning breeze. "You've come far, Eldir," they said with a small smile. "But do you ever wonder what's next?" Eldir turned to them, their eyes reflecting the light of the rising sun. "What's next? The realms will face challenges, new trials, new enemies. But that's the nature of balance. It isn't about avoiding struggle. It's about meeting it with purpose. Yurda nodded, their expression thoughtful. And you? What is your purpose now? Eldir looked out over the horizon, their staff glowing faintly in their hand. To protect, to guide, to remind the realms that even in the darkest of times, there is light. And as long as I walk these lands, I'll carry that light with me. With that, the two began their descent into the valley, their steps steady and unhurried. The world awaited them, not as a place to conquer or control, but as a tapestry to nurture and preserve. The cosmos, though fragile, stood renewed. And so, Eldir's journey continued, not as a keeper of fire, but as a harbinger of hope, a living testament to the power of choice and the enduring flame of harmony. Thank you for being a part of Calm Cloud Chronicles. What kind of stories help you relax the most? Please let us know in comments below. If you enjoyed this story, let us know by liking, sharing, and subscribing. Until next time, stay peaceful and keep dreaming.